This is Voices
Yeah.
from the Field. And today we have Chris Estep with us. He is the head coach of the Beverly Bandits Futures 11U. He has been coaching the majority of this team since they were 7 years old, so a long time, and being able to develop those young players. His team has found success at every level. The most recent achievements being the 11U Jeff Mack PGF Super Select Fall Championships runner-up, and also Top Gun Winter World Series champions. He also has a daughter, Kate, who is a pitcher, and she's actually been taking lessons from the great Montana Fout's dad, Tim. So a lot of really awesome things going on for Chris and his team. I will give the floor to you. Tell us a little bit of background about you, who you are, and then how you got into coaching the Beverly Bandits.
Yeah, sure. So, I played baseball all through school. And then, I also have a son, Brock, and he's played travel baseball, and I've coached his teams, throughout as he was growing up. And then my daughter, Kate, came up. She was lucky enough to make a travel team. But I think when she was like 6 years old, she made an 8-year-old team. And very talented team built from older girls. And kind of when they aged up, there was another girl there, Kendall Daly, that was that young and didn't really make the transition to 10U at that point. So we were just like, well, what are we going to do? So we decided to step in and coach, and got an opportunity from Steve Dillo with the West Virginia Dusters for myself and Chris Daly to coach. And we kind of built that team around, Kate and Kendall. And, we had a lot of success at that age, won some tournaments. And then the opportunity kind of was presented to us through going through training with Tim Fouts. And he's the director of the Lady Dukes in West Virginia.
Okay.
So he offered us a team, and we took the opportunity and was with him for 2 years, 2 fantastic years with a lot of great results. We added some quality players to our team. And really, went out and we won a PGF up in Cleveland, Ohio. And actually we beat, we were the Lady Dukes then, but we beat a Beverly Bandits team, which probably got us on the radar as the Beverly Bandits. So yeah, we had some success there. And then as we aged out of 10U, the opportunity was presented again to make a move to the Beverly Bandits. And obviously, with that opportunity, with such a great organization led by Bill Conroy, we couldn't really pass that up. So it's been a lot of moving, as we all know how travel softball is. We went kind of we were just like a local team to where now, I've got girls from 5 different states, which presents its own opportunities. But yeah, it's been quite the journey so far.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love that, you've been coaching this team for a while, and majority of those young players. And so I think it's really interesting starting those players so young at 6 and 7 years old. How do you, prioritize developing their skills because they are so young, but then also be able to play so competitively and try to be successful at those tournaments as well?
Well, I think at this age, like, skill development is the priority, right?
Yeah.
Because they're so young, and it's our job to teach them. And we've got I'm very fortunate to have a talented coaching staff along with me. Yeah. I've got Dave Morgan, who was an Ohio Outlaws coach. He had a team, and we combined teams whenever we moved from the Dukes to the Bandits with that Ohio Outlaws team. And he's an All-American center fielder in college. So he works a lot with our outfielders and does a really good job with them. We have Brian Barca, who works with our infield and does a lot of fundamental work with our girls. And he actually went on a 6-month trip down to the Dominican Republic to learn, how they do things down there. Because if you know anything about baseball players,
they can play ball.
they churn them out like crazy down there. So infielders. So Brian is super good at what he does. He's got these girls fundamentally sound, which really helps, as they develop. And really, if you continue to do that, when we get together as a team, like over the winter through our winter training, we get together every other weekend, and we really focus on skill development.
Yeah.
and we work on situational game situation stuff because most of these girls or all these girls are they have pitching coaches, catching coaches, fielding coaches, hitting coaches, like, so they're all putting in work individually for
Right.
skill development. And then when you add in the things that we do with them and, trying to teach them what to do when they get into a game, um, if you do all that stuff, the winning will take care of itself.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
That's awesome advice, especially for younger players that are they're trying to get into travel ball and get into that scene, kind of understanding, yeah, that work you put in will end up, the winning, like you said, will take care of itself. So I love that
Yeah.
concept.
Yeah.
Um,
And we have an extremely talented group of girls. Like,
yeah.
it's easy to teach them. They're very coachable, very respectful. Like we got a great group of kids, not only
Yeah.
from a talent standpoint, but from being good human beings as well.
Yeah, and that's huge. That is like
Yeah.
key to any successful program. So kind of speaking on that a little bit more, you have a lot of players from different states and you have these players that are really bonding throughout the years being together. What values and traits do you kind of look for to instill into your players to be able to have that successful team?
Yeah, that's a couple different things. We talk a lot about, things that you can control, right?
Hmm.
And the things that you can really control every day is attitude, effort, and energy, right? Those are things that, are non-negotiable. Like whenever we play, you got to have a positive attitude.
Hmm.
You got to bring the juice. Whenever we
Yep.
step out in between the lines, you got to be ready to play. And it's just maximum effort, maximum energy, positive energy. And the also like the thing that if you bring all that, again, the winning will come.
Right.
And we're very fortunate on our team. We talk about the mental aspect of the game as well. And we're very fortunate that one of the parents on our team, her name is Jess Hogan. She was a former D1 soccer player at Nebraska and actually played on the U.S. women's national team, I think the U19 and U21 teams. And she has written a book, which I have right here, which is Master the Mind Game.
Oh,
And we
cool.
provided that for all of our girls, and Jess kind of went over with them, and we kind of give them the opportunity to go through that and really just it's really an interactive guide for
Yeah.
them to kind of capture how they're feeling, what their goals are, what being a good teammate, what that looks like, having good sportsmanship, and really having the self confidence, to make yourself successful. And I think that's a huge part of the game. Over the years, you find out, these girls, they play much better whenever they're having fun. And
Yes.
that's what we try to have we try to foster that environment, because we've learned over the years that's whenever that we play the best is whenever
Right.
they're really having a good time and everything's positive and we're all, you know, marching in the same direction, so to speak.
Yeah, yeah. Everything that you've mentioned too, like the attitude, effort, energy, that's the things that they hear. I mean, I heard that in college. I heard it in travel ball. I've heard it and, even growing up, the older I got, honestly, the more I think our coaches preached it. So it's really cool that they're already kind of getting that foundation. So if they choose to go and play college one day, they'll be like, "Oh, heard that before. That's
Right.
nothing
Yeah.
new."
And we talk about the things that you can't control either. I mean,
Yeah.
you can't control the weather. So,
Nope.
a lot of these tournaments, we're not going to, they don't, we play them on turf.
Yeah.
So we're not going to slow down for rain.
Yeah.
So you got to learn how to pitch, with a
Hmm.
wet ball. You got to learn how to field with a wet ball. There's a
Yep.
lot of things that if you want to sit back and make excuses, you can make excuses for that, but we don't use that as an excuse. Like again,
Yeah.
you can't control that. You can't control. We love umpires, but sometimes
Yep.
they don't always. We don't always agree with some of
Right.
the things that they rule on, and you can't get upset. You can't. You got to play it one play at a time. You can't. You cannot get dwell on
Yeah.
a bad play. You got to move forward because one bad play can result, and ended up being two, three, four plays
Yeah.
that have negative results. So we got to kind
Yeah.
of play and move on.
Yeah, I love that. That's so cool because all those things are just going to help them in the future. So that's amazing. I kind of want to talk on that mental piece a little bit more. These girls, they play all year round. I mean, it's
Right.
nonstop, day in, day out, especially when they're younger, which is, kind of, it's weird when they get older, they kind of have more of that break, in the winter time and all that stuff. So how do you prevent that burnout aspect, especially when they're playing so much at such a young age? What steps do you take with your players to make sure that they're not getting burnout? They're not getting to where they're not having fun playing the game?
Well, we've always kind of prided ourselves on we're not going to be a team that plays every weekend,
Yeah,
right? And there's teams that are out there, and everybody is, they're free to do whatever they choose. That's just
right.
not, the avenue that we're going to take, because they are young, right?
Hmm.
And they're going through their
Yeah,
childhood. So, we got to give them time. In my opinion, you have to give them time to recover so that
right.
there is no injuries. And then you also, like, they're 10, 11, 12 years old, they're kids, and they need
Hmm.
time to be a kid.
Right.
And they need to go and experience the things that other kids do as well, because at the end of all this, I don't want them to look back on their childhood and say, well, what'd you do as a kid? Well, I traveled around the Midwest or the
Right.
East Coast and played at 300 different softball
Yeah.
fields. So it's keeping that as a top priority for our team. And to prevent burnout, like I said before, it's you have to make it fun for them.
Yeah.
And if it becomes a taxing situation, and they get anxiety, and to perform, they're not going to perform at their best, and that's things that we've learned as a coaching staff, over the years. And we like I said, I've got a great coaching staff. Dave and Brian I mentioned earlier. Josh Caldwell is a guy who he was a high school coach here in West Virginia. He won, I think, 4 state championships, and he
Mhm.
put girls in college like Jamie Bailey, who was an All ACC performer at Virginia Tech, and Kirsten Landers,
Wow.
who played at
Yeah.
Florida State
Yeah.
and at Mississippi State. Well, they played for Josh, and he's got a uh, coach those older girls, and he brings a lot of value to the table. And I got a guy like Chris Daly. When you talk about keeping things positive, he's the guy that every coaching staff needs.
Yeah.
You got to have a guy that keeps things positive, and the girls love him. He's funny, and he's just totally engaged, and he's like a walking. I call him the softball whisperer, because he's a walking encyclopedia of
Yeah.
softball knowledge. So
That's awesome. Yeah, that's
yeah,
incredible. I love to hear that. I just want to end it with
yeah,
one more question that's a little bit more fun and light. You've
yeah.
been coaching these girls since they were 7 years old, so you got to have a lot of memories with them. What is one of your favorite moments with this team so far in their journey?
Oh wow, we've had a lot. We've
Yeah.
had a lot of success, and I guess if I was to pick one, and really, especially with this team, because this team just formed, back in the fall of 2024, is how long this team's been together. Is we went to Myrtle Beach to play in a Top Gun World Series down there, and really for me it was not about going down and winning. It was about getting the girls out and getting them together, get the
Yeah.
families together, because we spend a lot of time. These parents and these kids, you spend so much time together with them, they become like family. So we went down there with the goal of everybody getting to know each other better, and the girls getting to know
Yeah.
each other better, the families getting to know each other better, and then play softball while we're at it. And we went down there, and I think that's when our team really, we started turning the page a little bit before that, but we really took off down there. We beat a lot of good teams that had a
Yeah.
lot of impressive records, and we were pretty dominant down there. And I was proud of the way they played. And like I said, they played loose. They had fun, and
Yeah.
it was really exciting coming out of there. And going through our it was a good segue into our winter training, where I've already seen we've made huge strides already, and super excited to start our spring schedule. I think we begin like March the 7th. We're playing in one of Montana Fouts'
Okay.
tournament down in Tennessee. Then we go straight into a PGF, the Beverly Bandits PGF down in Elizabethtown, Kentucky at the end of March. So it'll be here before we know it.
It definitely will. It sneaks up on you quick. Well, yeah, awesome. Well, thank you, Chris, for hopping on. I love getting to know a little bit more about you and your organization, your team, and all your all your players. So thank you again. Good luck in March and into the spring season.
Thanks for the time. I appreciate the opportunity.
Absolutely. Thank you. Have a good rest of your day.